Welcome to the Joy Inspired podcast. I'm Nikki Cruz, and I'm thrilled to explore with you what it means to walk in a faith-infused business. This is your space to find powerful tools and insights, to build with resilience, and to create impact through your unique purpose, discovering a joy that only God can provide. Together, let's embrace a business journey anchored in faith and empowered by joy. Let's jump in. Well, hello there, my amazing, beautiful kingdom building friends. It's Nikki Cruz, and we've hit episode 23 of the Joy Inspired podcast. And today's episode is both tender and powerful. It's hitting one of those places that we don't like to address and we don't like to talk about, because today we're talking about how joy helps you recover your purpose, even in those times when life feels hard. You know, those days where you just think this sucks. But before we get there, let's just be totally clear that joy and happiness are two different things. Joy walks with you in the fire. Joy keeps you standing up even when your knees are shaking. And joy says, I still trust God even if the situation isn't cute. And sometimes joy is the fiercest way to take on the enemy. It's the fiercest form of spiritual warfare. It's your, what now, God? Smile on your face, even though you still feel stuck and are waiting for the breakthrough. So often we get caught up in the hustle. We lose track of why we started. And I got so excited by jumping in here that I forgot to tell you, in case you haven't been here before, my name is Nikki Cruz, your joy junkie, because I believe God has given us so much joy inside. I want to make sure that you, everybody you know, sees God shining through the joy in your life, and that you tap into it and make the most of it. But like I said, sometimes we get so caught up on our mission and so caught up in the hustle that we lose track of why we actually started it. But joy is that divine GPS that says, recalculating, you've drifted off your mission, because if you're not feeling the joy, you're off track. So let's get back on track. Romans 15:13 says, may the God of hope fill you with all joy and peace as you trust in him. Notice that? Trust fuels joy. Purpose brings peace. But when you're not aligned with your purpose, you feel empty and you lose the joy. So there's a sequence going on there. I've noticed it so often with the members of our Jump community. When they reconnect with joy in the hard times, they really get rooted into it. Their clarity comes back. Their focus shifts and their to-do list doesn't shrink, but their perspective shifts to that place that puts them back in power, gives them the authority that God has given them to stand in. That's what activates that peace and the purpose again. So joy and your immune system and your brain. Let's just get back to some of the basics here. Let's geek out. Let's be a bit sciencey. Joy doesn't just lift your mood. It strengthens your immune system. And I'm not talking just about your spiritual immune system. I'm talking about your physical immune system. But the science shows that when we experience joy, gratitude, the brain releases dopamine, or dopamine, as some of you would say. That's that feel-good chemical that boosts focus and motivation. It also releases serotonin, which regulates your mood and protects you against depression. Boy, there are times when I get to tap into that on certain days more than others. But you know what? It also releases endorphins. And endorphins are your body's natural painkillers. Oxytocin, that bonding chemical, helping us feel safe and connected. Joy does all those things. And it's not just a very, very feeling out there. It's actually how God designed our bodies and our brains. Now, I'm no scientist, but those are just the basics. If you want to go dig into it, it is a fascinating subject. But friend, God hardwired your brain to respond to joy. And that response is healing strategy. Less burnout, fewer colds, stronger immune, feel better sleep, and more capacity. Carry on and keep going. To carry out your calling, to live out your purpose. Ever notice how much less you get sick when you're in a season where you're allowing your joy to bloom? So choosing joy isn't just, oh, yeah, that's a nice thing to do. It's chemical warfare against discouragement. I'm not saying skip the vitamins, but also choose joy. It's like your daily dose of Jesus infused vitamin. But what really takes us off track? So often it's disappointment. Now, if you've ever had life hit you with a disappointment so deep it made you question everything, you're not alone. We have it in our personal lives, our circumstances, our businesses. And here's a tip I want you to write in lipstick on your mirror, ladies, if you need to. Disappointment is not your destination. But you know what? It is a detour with direction if you approach it right. Let me break it down for you in a slightly different way. Determined individuals surrender and persevere. Positioned on instruction, navigating trials, miracles, endurance, and new trust. Come on. Now, I do also have a very similar acronym for disappointment. If you know me, you know I love acronyms. But this one is one that puts us in action. We surrender all and persevere. Disappointment doesn't mean everything's over. It means God is still writing the story. And disappointment doesn't mean you throw your hands in the air and you give up. Very often, the reason for our disappointment is expectation that maybe we shouldn't have in the first place. Any of you ever felt disappointed with God because He didn't come through in the way you expected? Been there. My years in my wheelchair, when I was told I would never walk again, it hit me this disappointment in God. But God had never, ever said, I will heal you on this day in this way. I believe God will heal us all. I don't believe it always manifests in this lifetime. So just remember, God knows what He's doing. Surrender your disappointment to Him. You can be honest with Him about your feelings. You can say, I'm disappointed, Lord. Heal my heart. Help me move forward. You get to acknowledge that pain. But don't just unpack and sit there looking at it all around you. Take it to God. Get real, get raw. But don't build a house on heartbreak. Instead, just say to God, Lord, where are you leading me through this? And then you guessed it, choose joy as resistance, joy as obedience, joy as proof that the pain doesn't get the last word, even in those tough situations. Because so much comes crashing in when we lose our joy. And I don't believe we ever lose it. That's just a term of praise. Your joy is always there. It's always inside you. But when you're not feeling the joy, when it's not blooming, when it's not evident in your life, everything becomes a little more constrained and tighter. Our patience becomes thin. Our tone becomes sharp. Our hugs are hasty and quick. But when we get that joy back, you become a safe space again for yourself and for others. And you speak with compassion instead of criticism. And you laugh and linger at the kitchen table instead of rushing off to get on with the next thing. Joy doesn't just benefit you. Joy blesses everyone connected to you. And that's always why I say joy is contagious. But in the most amazing, holy kind of way. It's magnetic. It will draw people to you, but it spills over onto them. And I was never more proud than when I was told that I just walk around sloshing joy all over everybody. What an amazing thing to have said about you because of the benefits that come with joy. If you're leading a family, a team, or a movement, using joy is actually a form of servant leadership. Your joy softens rooms and it heals atmospheres. It draws people in. Isn't that how you want to minister to people? So I'm going to encourage you today, get back to, instead of focusing on the disappointment and getting sidetracked by it, let that disappointment refocus you on your why. But this time, look at your why through the lens of joy, pressure. This is what I've got to do. This is what I'm designed to do. This is what I was created for. And let it breathe. Let that why purpose sing again. And then don't forget to download your free printable scriptures about joy. Powerful reminders. You can stick them on your fridge. You can write out one a day because that will help you, because the scripture is life breathed and it will breathe that life back into your joy. I think that when we focus on joy, it turns everything around, because have you ever seen somebody who has that deep-seated joy and knowing that there's a hope and a future, who's ready to give up? When you don't have that joy, you don't see the hope, you don't see the future, it's often because you've lost the alignment with your purpose. Align your faith, your passion, and your purpose, and you can't go wrong. You don't have to choose between purpose and peace. Joy will bring those things back together. And when life feels too loud or too long, too hard, it's when joy will gently whisper, you're still called, you're still covered. And the Holy Spirit will say, you're still mine. So go ahead, flex that joy muscle, friends. The more you use it, the stronger it gets. And as C.S. Lewis said, joy is the serious business of heaven. So let's take our joy seriously. It might be the one thing that takes you to the next level. Joy is not the glitter that you pick up after the party. It's the glitter that made the party pop. Joy is not what you have at the end of an achievement, but what carries you through the past to have the achievement. So until next week, remember, joy is your Jesus-powered superpower. It's in you. Let it bloom. And if you're having a hard time, hone back in on that joy, and you will feel a new passion, a new empowerment to your desire to step into your purpose and your calling. So I hope you found that encouraging. And if you know somebody who could just do with a little bit of encouragement on the joy side, we all have days where we feel less of it. Remember, joy is a choice, the choice. And if you can share with them a little way to find more joy in their day, you've just created another little miracle. So, blessings all. I look forward to seeing you all next week. Drop in the comments exactly what you thought about this, about joy. Do you have it? Do you have a tip for somebody else on how to bring more of that joy of the Lord into their life? I'd love to hear, and I look forward to looking through the comments. Blessings all. Go ahead and have a joy-filled week. Thank you so much for joining me on the Joy Inspired Podcast at www.joyinspiredpodcast.com. Make sure you hit that subscribe button so that you can get this and every other episode that comes out. We have lots of great stuff coming and you don't want to miss it. So make sure to hit that subscribe. I am so grateful for all the reviews and comments, and I look forward to serving you in next week's episode.